Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson. I was on BrightShine right here in the city of Memphis in the county ship in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Monday morning, June the 3rd, 2019, time 1:56 a.m. First, I thank all my family, my support for your continued encouragement support. I'm continuing to keep myself employed right here in this Memphis tri-state area. I'll continue to pursue my continue my education, pursuing my associate study, being administrative, concentration mark, and more college online. And this year in January of 2019, I enrolled at Memphis at Health Tech Institute of Memphis, right here in the Memphis tri-state area. And the reason in the medical assistant program, the reason I did that because back in 2009, 2010, see, I was a student at Remington College in the medical business and coding program, and I did graduate with a diploma, but they didn't get the certification. So without the certification, you can't be employed in the healthcare field. So I'm still having to pay the student loans back and not being able to be employed in the healthcare field. So this year, January of 2019, I enrolled at Health Tech Institute of Memphis in the medical assistant program, which is nine-month program. In October, I graduated in October with a diploma and with the certification. I'll be able to be employed in the healthcare field, and I'll also be able to pay my student loan back. And then I'll be able to go back to Monroe College online, pursue my associate study, be administrative, concentrated marketing. So what I'm doing now, I'm gonna do my Instagram now. Have some. Now, the World Health Organization, again, I'm gonna mention again the World No Tobacco Day, and also the United Nations, the World Environment Day. And again, I'm gonna do my Instagram. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson. Also on BrightShine right here in the city of Memphis in the county sheriff. Is in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Monday morning, June the 3rd, 2019. The time 2:00 a.m. First, I thank all my family, my support for your continued encouragement support. Anti-gang. Anti-gang. Now, these are just a few of the free logo design websites that you can go to make anti-gang logo. Now, excuse me. I'm going to continue to complain. I'm going to continue to speak out. Now, let me say this while it's on my mind. I want to mention this one more time. The World Health Organization, World No Tobacco Day, and also the United Nations World Environment Day. Okay. Let me make sure I don't. Now, after I do my Instagram video, I'm going to do my Facebook Live video. And I'm going to continue to complain. I'm going to continue to speak out. People saying they're a gang. People say they're a mob. Then they put the word stir on the end. Merriam-Webster Stir New International Dictionary, Oxford English Dictionary. It gives you the complete and total definition meaning of the word gang, mob, stir, and any and every other word. You understand? And people say they're a boss, they're a goon, they're a thug, they're a crook, they're a hoodlum, they're a mac, they're a player, they're a pimp, they're a whore, they're a hustler, they're a nigga. If you're a nigga hustling. People say all that ignorant nonsense. It's a street slang. There's nothing official, nothing right about no street slang. People all over the earth communicate and use language. Now, examples of street slang: tic-tac-toe, hop, scotch. For music, examples of street slang: hip, hop, rock, roll, swing, groove, jazz, blues, funk, do, wop, beat, bop. It's street slang. Nothing official, nothing right about no street slang. We can go to the quick reference Wikipedia and we can look up, you know what I'm saying, examples of street slang for money, currency exchange. People all over the earth use money, use currency exchange. They make up street slang for money, currency exchange. Now here in the United States of America, examples of street slang for money, currency exchange: bucks, rack, stack, bands, bread, dough, scratch, loot, moolah, Benjamin, dead presidents. It's street slang. Nothing official, nothing right about no street slang. Now, I graduated high school and I earned my high school diploma. And I do have some years of college. And from Monroe College Online, I went to Monroe College Online, and I was studying business administration with a concentration mark. I took a break from going to school. but I'm still have to pay the student loan back. But so I'm going back, and I'm gonna earn my social degree in business administration, concentrating marketing. Now, some people, they didn't graduate high school, they earned a GED, and then some people with the GED, they go on to college and earn a social degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD. Some people didn't graduate, didn't go that far in school, period. They just didn't go that far in school, period, for whatever reason. Well, if you didn't go that far in school, for whatever reason, you don't know reading, you don't know writing, and you don't know math, you don't know science, you don't know technology, and you don't know social study, and also you don't know vocational and technical training. Now, on-the-job training is on-the-job training, and so you just didn't go to far school. Now you have those other people who did go further in school. They graduated high school, took the ACT, SAT, got admitted to college, earned a social degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, so on and so forth, the sorority and the fraternity. Now, as you know, we've been continuing to emphasize the importance of the pre-13 colonies history, because history is very broad and very vast. You understand? And the history before the 13 colonies is very important. It's very important. And Harvard University, oldest institution of higher learning in the United States, founded March 13, 1639, Cambridge, Massachusetts. William Mary College, Williamsburg, Virginia, founded February 8, 1693, second oldest institution of higher learning in the United States of America. Phi Beta Kappa Society, founded December 5, 1776. The College of William and Mary was recognized as the first Greek letter student society in North America. Alpha Delta Pi, first sorority, founded in 1851, Wesleyan College, Macon, Georgia. The first organization to adopt the word sorority was Gamma Phi Beta, established on November 11, 1874, Syracuse University, Syracuse, New York. And then you had that first women's fraternity, DuPont College, 18-something. And the basis of the sorority fraternity, them old world secret societies. And for example, the Eastern Stars and the Freemasons, Euclid, and they be talking about Euclid, the mathematician, lived in Alexandria, Egypt, 1390, 1425. The Holloway manuscript, the Regis Poem, the Cook manuscript. And the Dowling manuscript. And you have examples of them old world secret societies, the Knights Templar, the Opus Dei, the Scottish Rite, Skull and Bones, Rosicrucian, the Sons of Liberty, the Thug Society, the Prior Scion, the Order of Templar Orientis, Knights of the Golden Eagle, the Woodmen, the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, the Improved Order of Raymond, the P.O. Sisterhood, the Eastern Star, the Freemasons, the Elks, the Loyal Order of Moose, the Bilderberg Group, the Ku Klux Klan, the Knights of Matthias, Knights of Columbus, the Illuminati, the Forester Society, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the Mystic Order of the Veiled Prophets of the Enchanted Realm, the United Order of the Golden Cross, the United Ancient Order of Druids, the National Grain, the Ancient Order of Herbanans. It's just a few, and some more. And then you have the Spanish Garduna, the Carbonari, the Black Hand. You say Mafia, that's Afro-Asiatic. You say Cosa Nostra, that's Latin. The Triad, the Yakuza, the Osira. It's just a few, and some more. And so, don't let that sorority and fraternity mislead you. Now, the sorority and fraternity. The sorority and fraternity. They commit crimes on and off the college and university campus. The United States Department of Justice, hazing is a crime. The sorority fraternity use hazing as part of the initiation into the sorority fraternity, and all that initiation stuff, all that initiation rituals that they want to be devil worship, That's all. Some want to be devil worship, and they use and abuse tobacco products, chewing tobacco, cigarettes, cigars. They put drugs in the cigarettes and cigars. They use and abuse alcohol and drugs. They indulge in immoral activities. They cheat, lie, steal, burglary, robbery, assault, rape, molestation, harassment, discriminate, all that, embezzlement, bribery, anything that's considered to be a crime. The sorority fraternity they commit, because that's what they want to do. They want to commit a crime. They indulge in gambling and games of chance. And they indulge in sexual deviance and depravity. Don't let the sorority fraternity mislead you. Don't be misled by the sorority fraternity being on a college and university campus like they're trying to do. No, they're not. They're not trying to do what's right. Get out the sorority and fraternity. Don't join the sorority fraternity. Discourage others from joining the sorority fraternity. Expose the sorority fraternity. Renounce the sorority. All those who started and began the sorority, renounce them. The sorority, them old world secret society. Renounce. Denounce the whole concept and idea of the sorority and fraternity, them old world secret society. The sorority fraternity know they work, and they manage all these businesses, companies, and corporations, and they commit crimes against humanity, atrocity. They violate human rights and civil rights, inhumanity, genocide, and ethnic cleansing, all forms of discrimination and harassment. They pollute the air, ground, water, and noise pollution. They destroy the environment. They destroy nature. They destroy wildlife. Don't let the sorority and fraternity mislead you. Now, this is the International Bill of Human Rights. And this is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. This is the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. And this is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And this is the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. This is the International Federation for Human Rights. This is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. And this is Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. And this is the world's oldest global environmental organization, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, also the World Wildlife Fund. Now, just like the organization, just like the organization we just mentioned, there's some more, such as Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Global Rights, Frontline Defenders, Human Rights Without Frontiers, the International Service for Human Rights, the Wildlife Conservation Network, Endangered Wildlife Trust, Biodiversity and Nature Conservancy Association, the Rare Species Conservation Center, the Wildlife Research and Conservation Trust, the Rainforest Trust, the International Rainforest Conservation Organization, the Rainforest Alliance, the Rainforest Action Network, the Conservation International Wildlife Conservation Society, the Conservation Fund, the Legal Conservation Boards, Earthwatch Institute, Conservancy Association, Earth Justice, the Conservation Volunteers, Biodiversity International, Earth Day Network, Environmental Defense Fund, Friends of the Earth, Friends of Nature, Greenpeace, the Nature Conservancy, Wildlife Conservation Society, Soil and Water Conservation, Clean Water Action, the World Water Council, Marine Conservation Institute, Marine Conservation Alliance, Oceanic Preservation Society, Oceanic Society, Global Ocean Commission, the International Marine Life Alliance. Now, there are many more organizations such as these, just like the ones we just mentioned. They're trying to stop, they're trying to end all the crimes that the sorority and the fraternity of Old World Secret Society be committing. And like I said, they work for these, and they manage these businesses, companies, and these corporations, and they use and misuse the background check. They use and misuse the background check, and they commit crimes against humanity, atrocities. They violate human rights and civil rights, inhumanity, genocide, and ethnic cleansing, all forms of discrimination and harassment. They pollute the air, ground, water, and noise pollution. They destroy the environment. They destroy nature. They destroy wildlife. Don't be misled by the sorority and their fraternity being on the college and university campus. The basis of the sorority fraternity, them Old World Secret Society, and see all that wannabe devil worship, all this human sacrifices and animal sacrifice and all that. See that what them poachers be doing. Them people that be talking about they're doing all this poaching. That's what it is. And so don't let the sorority and fraternity mislead you. Now, see, that's the reason why we see there's no such thing as no gang and no mob being on the East Coast. There's no such thing. There's no such thing, no gang, no mob on the East Coast. There's no such thing. See, the sorority and the fraternity of Old World Secret Society, that's where that came from. Chicago, Illinois is not a gang or a mob base. See, those same criminals that set up, they got themselves established on the East Coast, them same criminals moved up to Chicago, Illinois, and tried to use Chicago, Illinois as a gang or mob base. There's no such thing, no folk, no mobile or folk gang, no my people gang. There's no such thing. And be the sorority and the fraternity lying about the Constitution. They be lying. Just like riding around on a motorcycle, talking about the motorcycle gang and a mob. There's no such thing. They be the sorority and fraternity lying about the Constitution. Los Angeles, California never has been, never will be, shouldn't even be today. People trying to use Chicago, trying to use Los Angeles, California, some kind of gang or mob base. No such thing. Nowhere on this earth is there such thing as a gang or mob base. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. No blood gang, no Crip gang, no Stone gang. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. It be the sorority and fraternity lying about the Constitution. See, all that wannabe devil worship, all that wannabe devil worship, there's no such thing. That's where it's coming from. All that wannabe devil worship. See, let's read why the pre-13 colony history is so important. The pre-13 colony history, when we talk about Turkey, the modern day, the country, the nation of Turkey. And in the past, in the history, see, that part of the world, and then including the Mediterranean, it was being used by these criminals Now remember, we were talking about the Perizzites, the Hivites and the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Girgasites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites. Then you had the Midianites, the Moabites, the Philistines, and then the Philistines being Indo-European, the Hittites being Indo-European, and then the rest of the people being some Afro-Asiatic people. And possibly could be some Nilo-Saharan, could be some Niger Congo, possibly. Excuse me. But some wannabe devil worship. Some wannabe devil worship. And see, they were using Cilicia, Tarsus, and modern day Turkey as some kind of base. Some kind of base, or you know, for the gang and mob, you know, for the criminals, the pirates. And you know, they was involved in a lot of slave trade during, you know, even before the East African slave trade and the West African. There was a lot of slave trading in Cilicia and, you know, Tarsus, and the pirates. And excuse me. And the first matter, you know, we're talking about the pirates, the East African slave trade, the West African slave trade, and the pirates were transporting African people from sub-Saharan Africa, the Niger Congo, to the Caribbean, to Central America, South America, and eventually to North America and Mexico, because it was the pirates who brought the first African slaves. It was the pirates. They brought the first African slaves on the ship. And those pirates, they wanted to trade supplies because they was supposing they had ran out of whatever their supplies, so they wanted to trade slaves for some supplies with the European settlers who were all, you know, who had settled in Virginia somewhere. And it was the pirates, the first African slaves from sub-Saharan Africa. They came from Angola. And it was the pirates who brought them here. It was them pirates. See, them the criminals that and then they kept bringing some more in the East African, West African slave trade. But it was them pirates, them criminals, them wannabe devil worshippers, And see, that's the reason why the pre-13 colony history is so important. It's so important. See, and like I said, they brought the slave, and then from that point on, you had the East African, West African slave trade. As you know, the East before West Africa, the East African, then the West African slave trade. And once they traded those slaves, then from that point on, it was slaves coming from sub-Saharan Africa to the Americas, to North America. They started on the East Coast, and then there was, you know, southern states that had slave ports. New Orleans, Louisiana was a slave port. The state of Mississippi had slave ports. The state of Texas, Galveston, Texas was a slave port. Even the state of Alabama, the last slave ship that came from sub-Saharan, bringing slaves from sub-Saharan, the state of Alabama. And then the state of Florida. On both sides of the state of Florida, there was slave ports, and slaves were being traded, you know, being brought from sub-Saharan on both sides of the state of Florida. And excuse me, Veracruz, Mexico was a slave port. Veracruz, Mexico was a slave port, and bringing people, African people from sub-Saharan Africa to Veracruz, Mexico. It was the pirates. It was those pirates. Some wannabe devil worship. So, and there's no such thing. No such thing. Now, The Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, organized crime, wannabe devil worship. The Latin Rite, Alexandrian Rite, Armenian Rite, Byzantine Rite, East Syrian Rite, West Syrian Rite. Organized crime, so wannabe devil worship. The Protestant Reformation Movement Church, 95 Thesis. That is the Catholic Church. The Catholics who were protesting the Catholic Church, and then the Catholic Church called the Catholics who were protesting against the Catholic Church, called them Protestants. And you have major branching, you have minor branching, you have interdenominational movement, you have other developments, you have related movements. That's the Catholic Church, organized crimes and wannabe devil worship. The American Restoration Movement, Stone Campbell movement, they claim they're trying to go back to the 1st century, and that's what they claim. They claim they're trying to go back to the 1st century, and the 1st century, and Saint Ignatius of Antioch. He wrote several letters, and one of the letters that Saint Ignatius of Antioch wrote, he wrote to the Smyrnaeans. And in that letter that Saint Ignatius of Antioch wrote to the Smyrnaeans, he wrote the phrase Catholic Church. And after that, Saint Ignatius of Antioch, in front of 50,000 plus fans at the Roman Colosseum, I don't know what day of the week it was. I had to go back to the check the records, historical records. But he was eaten alive. He was alive, and he was eaten alive by lions, not by one lion. Lions are S. He was eaten alive. He was alive, and the lions ate him, and the rest is history. The Churches of Christ, the unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ congregations, the Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. And then you have all these man-made religious groups and organizations such as L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology, the Mormons, the Amish, the Mennonites. You have people like David Koresh, for example, Jim Jones, the Zoroastrian. He was a supposed prophet. Then you have Prophet Muhammad, the Sunni Muslim, Prophet Ali, the Shiite Muslim, the Baha'i, they had a prophet, and also the Sikhs, they had a prophet, and he wrote some kind of book. And then you had these organizations like the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, the American Muslim Society. And Khalid Muhammad, he was affiliated with the Nation of Islam, and he started the New Black Panther Party, and all these various Black Hebrew Israelite groups. And for example, over there in Israel, Ben Ami, and then all these Rastafarian movement groups. And then you have all these Pan-Africanist groups. Now, all these Pan-Africanists, now you be talking about the economy, you be talking about democracy, bureaucracy, and autocracy, and all the ocracy stuff, and nationalism, and socialism, and fascism, and communism, and it's all that ism stuff. And then what the Pan-Africans be talking about, and when you be talking about all that, it's one God. All that stuff talking about being an atheist. You're not going. Now, we in the process of getting things set up and getting things prepared the United Nations. Every nation on this earth is a member of the United Nations. And every nation on this earth that's a member of the United Nations has a justice department or a ministry of justice. Now, at the United Nations, they have an international criminal court. There's only one church. It's only one church. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, established one church. One church. Now, these criminals, they persecuted the church. And the church is still being persecuted today. Criminal and civil charges. Criminal and civil charges. At the International Criminal Court, as well as every nation on the earth that's a member of the United Nations Justice Department, Ministry of Justice, criminal and civil charge. See, you don't see when it comes to having rights. And like I mentioned yesterday, you see in the news today, for example, here in the United States of America, the big news today is that abortion rights. It is it's all around the United States of America. It's constantly talking about people having the right or don't have the right abortion. Well, see, in the court of law, see, freedom of religion, saying that you got the right to practice your religion. First of all, the Catholic Church is not a religion. It's not the church. See, this is what the public defender's office and the prosecuting attorney's office going to have to face. Possible criminal and civil charge. Because see, it's only one church. Only one. Only one. And you don't have the right to perjure yourself in court. It's only one church. You don't have the right to lie. And all that Protestant Reformation movement stuff, 95 Things, the American Restoration movement, Stone Campbell movement, you don't have the right to lie. See, it's going to be a lot of court. I told you back in 2018, now here it is, 2009, I told you it's going to be a lot of court. It's going to be criminal and civil charge. Here it is, 2019. All these colleges and universities, it's just like a business, a company, a corporation. It's going to be a lot of court. There's no such thing as no Catholic Church. There's no such thing as no Protestant Reformation movement, Stone Campbell movement. There's no such thing. No American Restoration movement, Stone Campbell. There's no such thing. No Protestant Reformation movement, 95 Things. No such thing, man. And all these man-made religious organizations, criminal and civil charge. See, that's the reason why I told you. See, the only reason I'm not pushing now because I knew the public defender's office, the prosecuting attorney's office. See, all these people at the executive, legislative, judicial branches of government. You went to college and university, and a lot of people, just like here in the United States of America, you're a member of a sorority and a fraternity yourself. You're a member of a sorority and a fraternity yourself. You don't want to be devil worshiping yourself, and you don't have any knowledge, wisdom, or understanding about the Bible. And I just knew to leave you on the street for right now. It's temporary. It's temporary for right now. But in the very near future, not do mean in the very near future, you best believe it's going to be criminal and civil charge. It's coming. Oh yeah, it's coming. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, a liar, murderer, the devil. He wrote all those epistles, all lies, calling himself an apostle. He never has been, never will be an apostle. He was lying. And one of those verses that the man-made religious organization used, that he wrote, Romans chapter 16, verse 16, salute one another with the holy kiss, the church with the suffix ES of Christ, salute you. Another verse that Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, wrote, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 4. So that we ourselves glory in you in the church with the suffix is churches of God for your patience and faith in all your persecution and tribulation that ye endure. Now this is a list of occult terms from A to Z. And this is a list of occult symbols. Now this is world religions and occult symbols. And these are occult symbols. Now this is a list of place names of Native American origin in the United States. And state names, Native American, no First American, Native American. State name, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Connecticut, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, New Mexico, North and South Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom where it says see also list of place names of indigenous origin in the Americas. So see, that's the reason why the pre-13 colony history is so important. It's so important. Now these are just a few of the free logo design websites that you can go to make anti-gang logo. Now I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna get ready to end my Instagram video, and after I end my Instagram video, I'm gonna do my Facebook live video. Now my YouTube channel is recorded. just ended my Instagram video, so now I'm doing my Facebook Live video. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine, live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county, Shelby, the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Monday morning, June the 3rd, 2019. The time is 2:51 a.m. First, I thank all my family, my support for your team, encouraging support. Anti-gang, anti-gang. These are just a few of the free logo design websites that you can go to make anti-gang logo. Now remember these words: coercion, coerce, sexual coercion, psychological coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. I just ended my Instagram video, and and now I'm doing my Facebook Live video. And I remember yesterday I did my Instagram, of course, and then I did my Periscope video. Now we had some Bible reading, and we're going to continue our Bible reading, and we had some verses that we read, and we want to make sure that when we read when we read God's word, the word enters into our heart. So we're going to pick back up. Like I said, when I ended my video yesterday, we're going to come back. So we're back. I'm going to continue to complain I'm going to continue to speak out. And matter of fact, let me why is on my mind? I want to mention this again. The World Health Organization World No Tobacco Day and the United Nations World Environment Day. Now, I'm going to continue to complain. I'm going to continue to speak out. People saying they are a gang, saying they are a mob. Put the word stir on the end. Merriam-Webster Sturgeon International Dictionary, Oxford English Dictionary, gives you the complete and total definition, meaning of the word gang, mob, stir, any and every other word. People saying they are boss, they are goon, they are thug, they are crook and a hooligan, they are mac, they are player, they are pimp, they are whore, they are hustler, they are nigga, field nigga, house nigga. Well, street slang. Nothing official, nothing right about no street slang. People all over the earth communicate and use language. Examples of street slang: tic-tac-toe, hopscotch. Now, when it comes to music, example of street slang: hip, hop, rock, roll, swing, groove, jazz, blues, funk, doo, wop, beat, bop. Street slang. Nothing official, nothing right about no street slang. When it comes to when it comes to money, currency, exchange, we can go to the quick reference, Wikipedia, and we can look up money, currency, exchange. People all over the earth use money, currency, exchange. They make up street slang for money, currency, exchange. Here in the United States of America, examples of street slang for money, currency, exchange: bucks, rack, stack, bands, bread, dough, scratch, loot, moolah, Benjamin, dead president, and none official, none right about no street slang. And so I graduated high school, earned my high school diploma, got some years of college. Haven't earned my social degree yet because I took a break from going to school. But I got to pay them student loan back, so I do intend on going back to Monroe College online and earn my social degree in business administration with a concentration mark. Some people didn't graduate high school, they earned a GED. And then they went on and earned a social degree, bachelor degree, master degree, PhD. And then you had some people who just didn't go that far in school, period. Then if you didn't go that far in school, you don't know reading, you don't know writing, you don't know math, you don't know science, you don't know technology, and you don't know social studies. You don't know social studies. Then you don't know vocational technical training. Now, on-the-job training is on-the-job training. And so then you had those people that did go further in school. They graduated high school and they took the ACT, got admitted to college, and then earned a social degree, bachelor degree, master degree, PhD, so on and so forth, the sorority and fraternity. Let's read about the pre-13 colony history is so important. We don't negate that history. That history is important. Harvard University is the oldest institution of higher learning in the United States, founded March 13, 1639, Cambridge, Massachusetts. William and Mary College, Williamsburg, Virginia, founded February 8, 1693, second oldest institution of higher learning here in the United States of America. Phi Beta Kappa Society, founded December the 5th, 1776, the College of William and Mary, and recognized as the first Greek letter student society in North America. Alpha Delta Pi, first sorority, founded 1851, Westland College, Macon, Georgia. The first organization to adopt the word sorority was Gamma Phi Beta, established on November 11, 1874, Syracuse University, Syracuse, New York, and then the first women's fraternity. DuPont College, 18 something else. But and the basis of the sorority and fraternity, them old world secret societies. For example, the Eastern Star of the Freemasons. They talk about Euclid, the mathematician, lived in Alexandria, Egypt, 1390, 1425. And they mention him in the Hollowell manuscript, the Reed's Point, the Cook manuscript. And then you had the Dowling manuscript. Now, examples of them old world secret society, the Opus Dei, the Knights Templar, the Scottish Rite, Skull and Bones, Rosicrucians, the Sons of Liberty, Thug Society, the Priory of Sion, the Order of Templarians, the Knights of the Golden Eagle, the Woodmen, the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mission Shrine, the Improved Order of Redmond, the Pio Sisterhood, the Elks, the Eastern Star, the Freemasons, the Elks, and the Lower Order of Moose, the Bilderberg Group, the Ku Klux Klan, the Knights of Bethesda, Knights of Columbus, the Illuminati, the Fire Society, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the Mystic Order of the Veil, Prophets of the Enchanted Realm, the United Order of the Golden Cross, the United Ancient Order of Druid National Brain, Ancient Order of Hermanaeans, and just a few, and some more. The Spanish Gardona, the Carbonaria, the Black Hand. You say Mafia, that's Afro-Asiatic. You say Cosa Nostra, that's Latin. The Triad, the Yakuza, the Osirica. It's just a few, there's some more. So don't let the sorority and fraternity mislead you because they on a college and university campus, and like that mean they trying to do what's right. No, they not. No, they not. They use hazing as part of the initiation ritual. The United States Department of Justice, hazing is a crime. The sorority and fraternity, criminals. They're criminals. And then all that initiation ritual, some wanna-be devil worship. Some wanna-be devil, because there's no such thing as devil worship. We finna get back on that today. We finna get right back. There's no such thing, no devil worship. And then you walking around here talking about, you be hearing people say, well, God is all powerful. God is all knowing. God is ever present. Well, in saying all that, there's no such thing, no devil worship. God don't have no rival. You all knowing, you all powerful, you ever present. You don't have no rival. There's no enemy. It's just God. It's just God. So, public defender's office, prosecuting attorney's office, God is all powerful. God is all knowing, and God is ever present. When you was in college and you joined the sorority and the fraternity, and all these governments around the world, there's members of the United Nations, the executive branch and legislative branch and judicial branch of government. See, God is all powerful, all knowing, and ever present. There's no such thing as no devil worship. How can you have a rival? How is it that a God can have a rival? You all knowing, and you all powerful, and you ever present. You don't have no rival. There's no such thing as devil worship. No such thing. Never have been, never will be. Now, getting back to what we were talking about. The sorority and the fraternity. Excuse me. On and off the campus. On and off the college campus. They commit crimes. And they use and abuse tobacco products, chewing tobacco, cigarettes, cigars. They put drugs in the cigarette cigar. They use and abuse alcohol and drugs. They indulge in gambling and games of chance. They indulge in immoral activities. They lie, cheat, steal. They commit assault, rape, molestation, all that, all embezzlement, bribery, all that, anything that's considered a crime. They indulge in sexual deviance and depravity. See, you don't let the sorority and fraternity mislead you. Get out the sorority and fraternity. Don't join the sorority and fraternity. Discourage others from being involved in the sorority and fraternity. Expose the sorority and fraternity. Renounce all those people that started and began the sorority and fraternity, them old world secret society, and denounce the whole concept and idea of the sorority and fraternity and them old world secret society. And the sorority and fraternity, they work and they manage all these businesses, companies, and corporations. They use and misuse the background check, and they commit crimes against humanity, atrocities. They violate human rights and civil rights, inhumanity, genocide, and ethnic cleansing, all forms of discrimination and harassment. They pollute the air, ground, water, and noise pollution. They destroy the environment. They destroy nature. They destroy wildlife. Don't be misled by the sorority and fraternity. Don't be misled now. This is the International Bill of Human Rights. And this is the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And this is the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. The International Federation for Human Rights. This is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. This is Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. This is the world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature, also the World Wildlife Fund. So there are many organizations like the one we just mentioned, such as Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Global Rights, Frontline Defenders, Human Rights Without Frontiers, International Service for Human Rights, and Conservation International, Wildlife Conservation Society, Conservation Fund, League of Conservation Voters, Earthwatch, Institute Conservancy Association, Earth Justice and Conservation Volunteers, Wildlife Conservation Network, Endangered Wildlife Trust, Biodiversity and Nature Conservancy Association, Rare Species Conservation Center, Wildlife Research and Conservation Trust, Rainforest Trust, International Rainforest Conservation Organization, Rainforest Alliance, Rainforest Action Network. Biodiversity International, Earth Day Network, Environmental Defense Fund, Friends of the Earth, Friends of Nature, Greenpeace, the Nature Conservancy and Wildlife Conservation Society, Soil and Water Conservation, Clean Water Action, World Water Council, Marine Conservation Institute, Marine Conservation Alliance, Ocean Preservation Society, Ocean Society, Global Ocean Commission, the International Marine Life Alliance, and there are many more organizations such as the one we just mentioned. They trying to stop all these crimes that the sorority and the fraternity, the old world secret society, be committing. They work and they manage all these businesses, companies, and corporations, and they use and misuse the background check, and they commit crimes against humanity, atrocities. They violate human rights and civil rights, inhumanity, genocide, and ethnic cleansing, all forms of discrimination and harassment. They pollute the air, ground, and water, as well as noise pollution. They destroy the environment, they destroy nature, they destroy wildlife. Don't be misled by the sorority fraternity. They all that animal sacrifice and human sacrifice. See, that's what all them poachers be doing. See, that's what all that them poachers be doing. You see, they want to be devil worship. Want to be devil. There's no such thing. No want to be devil worship. Never have been. God don't have no rival. God don't have no rival. God don't have no enemies. He all powerful, all knowing, and ever present. You know, God. Is he? See, you be making up a bunch of lies. You be lying. You being deceived by the devil. And the devil being punished by God. And now the Catholic Church, organized crime, some wannabe devil worship, Latin Rite, Alexandrian Rite, Armenian Rite, Byzantine Rite, East Syrian Rite, West Syrian Rite. Some organized crime, some wannabe devil worship, no such thing. Protestant Reformation Movement Church, 95 Thesis. The Catholics that were protesting against the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church called the Catholics that were protesting against the Catholic Church, called them Protestants. You have major branches, you have minor branches, you have interdenominational movement, other developments, and related movements. It's the Catholic Church. It's organized crimes and want to be devil worship. And then you also have the American Restoration Movement, Stone Campbell Movement. They claim they're going back to the 1st century. And as you know, St. Ignatius of Antioch, he wrote several letters. And in one of the letters, several letters that St. Ignatius of Antioch wrote, he wrote to the Smyrnaeans. And in that letter that St. Ignatius of Antioch wrote to the Smyrnaeans, he wrote the phrase Catholic Church. And after that, St. Ignatius of Antioch was eaten alive in front of 50,000 plus fans at the Roman Colosseum. What day of the week it was, I had to refer back to the historical record. And but he was alive. He was alive. And he was eaten by lions, with an S, lion, not one, but lions. He was eaten alive. And the churches of the American Restoration Movement, Stone Campbell Movement, the Churches of Christ, Unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ Congregations, Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. And then you have all these man-made religious groups, organizations. L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology, the Mormons, the Amish, the Mennonites, you have people like Jim Jones, people like David Koresh, and you have Zoroaster. He was a prophet. Prophet Muhammad, Sunni Muslim, Prophet Ali, the Shiite Muslim. Then you had a prophet, the Baha'i, they had a prophet. And also the Sikhs. You know, they had a prophet. He wrote some kind of book. And then you have all these groups like the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, the American Muslim Society. Khalid Muhammad was affiliated with the Nation of Islam. He started the new Black Panther Party. You have all these various black Hebrew Israelite groups. For example, over there in Israel, Ben Ami. And then you have all these Rastafarian movement groups. And all these Pan-Africanists. Now, all these Pan-Africans, they be talking about bureaucracy and democracy and theocracy and monarchy and, you know, they be talking about nationalism and patriotism, and they talking about socialism and fascism and communism and Marxism. After coming Marxism, that's what I was talking about. Karl Marx, Marxism, and you know, all that. They be talking about all that stuff with the economy and socialism, you know, all that stuff, the economy and the government and all that. And when you get to God, see, God, and then talking about they are atheists and all this, and you know, all this, you know. But then you have Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. He wrote all those epistles, and in those epistles he called himself an apostle. He wasn't no apostle. He was lying. He was lying. And these man-made religious organizations, they be using all those epistles that Saul from Tarsus, self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, that he wrote, calling himself an apostle. One of the verses that they used from the epistles he wrote, Romans chapter 16, verse 16. Salute one another with the holy kiss, the church with the suffix ES, churches of Christ salute you. And 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 4, so that we ourselves glory in you in the church with the suffix ES, churches of God, for your patience and faith, all your persecution and tribulation that ye endure. Now these are a list of occult terms from A to Z. And these are a list of occult symbols. And these are world religions and occult symbols. And these are occult symbols. such thing as no gang and mob base on the East Coast. As you can see, there's no such thing. It made up. It's some made up junk, some lies. The East Coast never has been, never was, and never is gang or mob base. See, it's a lie. Some wannabe devil worship, riding around on motorcycles, coming you in a gang or mob. That's a roaring in return be lying about the Constitution. See, we in today's society today, see, it's been in the news, all in the news, and what they talking about, abortion rights, the right to have an abortion, right not to have abortion, all that about rights. See, it was them criminals that came over from the old world. Chicago, Illinois is not a gang on mob base. It was them criminals, some wannabe devil worship. And that's the truth. It's the truth. There's no such thing, no folk gang, no mob people gang, no such thing. Los Angeles, California is not a gang on mob base. It was them same criminals that came over from the old world, some wannabe devil worship. There's no such thing, no blood gang, no crip gang, no stone gang. There's no such thing. See, the modern day country of Turkey today. See, in history, the pre-13 colony history is so important. So important. Cilicia, Tarsus, the slave trade, the pirates. And see, this was before the East African and West African slave trade. There was a slave trade, and there was a so-called criminal base in Cilicia, Tarsus, and in the Mediterranean, them pirates. And then you had the East African slave trade. Then you had the West African slave trade. They were taking people from sub-Saharan Africa, the Niger Congo, and they were being transported as slaves to the Caribbean, to Central America, to South America. The wannabe devil worship, the pirates. And them same pirates, on one occasion, they had brought some slaves from Angola. The first slaves that came to the United States of America, they came from Angola. And they was on a slave ship, and those pirates, they wanted to trade supplies for the slaves, because they had ran out of their supplies. So they traded with the people over in Virginia for some supplies. And the first slaves that came to the United States of America, they came from Angola. They was on a slave ship with them pirates. Don't want to be devil worship. See, the pre-13 colony history is so important. It's so important. So important. And this is a list of place names of Native American origin in the United States. State names: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Connecticut, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, New Mexico, North and South Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Wisconsin, Wyoming. I'm going to scroll down all the way to the bottom. List of place names. We'll say see also, and then some list of place names of indigenous origin. in the Americas. So, and because of those first slaves that came over from Angola on that slave ship with those pirates, them wannabe devil worshippers, you know, and then, you know, with the people in ancient time, you know, these people, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Girgasites, the Hittites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Moabites, the Midianites, the Philistines. See, the Philistine, Indo-European. The Hittites, Indo-European. And the other people, some Afro-Asiatic people. See, the pirates. And it could have been some Nilo-Saharan, could have been some Niger-Congo. All that East African, West African slave trade. And so on and so forth. But started bringing slaves to the Americas, to North America, to the East Coast. And you had all these slave ports on the East Coast, but then you had slave ports in the southern states. The state of Mississippi had a slave port. New Orleans, Louisiana was a slave port. Galveston, Texas, slave port. The state of Alabama, the last slave from sub-Saharan Africa on a slave ship came to the state of Alabama. The state of Florida, slave ports on both sides. Veracruz, Mexico, slave port. Now, before I get to the Bible, what I'm going to do is the United States government enacted the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, Title 9 of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, the RICO Act, is anti-gang. And this is the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act of 1970, the Controlled Substance Act, the Psychotropic Substances Act, the Continuing Criminal Enterprise Statute, the Kingpin Statute. It's all anti-gang. This is the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act of 1974, established the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, as well as other related legislation, is anti-gang. The Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and the Comprehensive Gang Model Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, the Bureau of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice, the United States Department of Justice, the Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative Project Safe Neighborhood. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Community-Oriented Police and Service, Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, Bureau of Justice, International Narcotic Laws Forum Affairs, United States Department of State Institute for Intergovernmental Affairs, Gang Resistant Education and Training, the GREAT Program. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. In October 2009, the National Youth Gang Center, which had been funded by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention since 1995, merged with the National Gang Center, which had been funded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance since 2003. The National Gang Center, compilation of state laws against gangs, Gang Prevention Overview Research Program, Mr. James Al, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, the United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, National Gang Center Bulletin. And the title of that bulletin, History of Street Gangs in the United States. There are bulletins, there are books in the bulletin to refer to. Read them books and the bullets. And also, you can go to the quick reference Wikipedia and find the same information type gangs in the United States. The United States Department of Justice, Officers of the United States Attorney Manual 1457, Criminal Street Gang Statute 18, United States Code 521. The United States Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, National Gang Intelligence Center, the United States Department of Justice, Organized Crime and Gang Section. There are other federal, state, and local agencies. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, Anti-Gang Strategy, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, and Suppression. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, the United States Department of Health and Human Services, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, National Center for Injury Prevention and Control, Change of Course, Preventing Gang Membership, also striving to reduce youth violence everywhere. The United States Department of Justice, United States Department of Education, United States Department of Health and Human Services, United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, United States Department of Labor, and the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, National Forum Youth Violence Prevention Forum. You can go to youth.gov and be informed about the National Forum Youth Violence Prevention Forum, as well as the Comprehensive Gang Model, the Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, and the Comprehensive Gang Model. The United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice, the National Crime Prevention Council, keeping kids out of gang, and also anti-hate. You go to the United States Department of Justice, lawyers.com, and be informed about anti-hate. Now let's go to our Bible reading and let's pick back up where we left off yesterday. Now, as you know, we did our Bible reading yesterday, as you know, and we read Matthew, which we're going to do today, Matthew chapters 3 and 4. We read Matthew chapter 16 and 18, the one church. And we read the book of Matthew, chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. The commission, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, gave his apostles commission. And so, before we get to our Bible reading, let me do one more thing here. That's on my mind. The birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God. Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 through 25. Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 23. Luke chapter 1, verses 1 through 8. And Luke chapter 2, verses 1 through 52. All those who are watching my video, you can go to BibleStudy2.com, follow on BibleGateway.com, follow on the Lord's Supper. Matthew chapter 26, verses 26 through 29. Mark chapter 14, verses 22 through 25. Luke chapter 22, verses 15 through 22. The Lord's Prayer. Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13. And Luke chapter 11, verses 2 through 4. Read the Beatitudes. Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7. And Luke chapter 6, verses 20 through 49. When it comes to John the Baptist, Matthew chapter 3, verses 1 through 17, emphasize verses 11 through 17. Mark chapter 1, verses 1 through 11, emphasize verses 7 through 11. Luke chapter 3, verses 1 through 7, 1 through 22, emphasize verses 16 through 22. John chapter 1, verses 15 through 34, emphasize verses 26 through 34. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, teaching in the synagogue. Matthew chapter 4, verse 23. Mark chapter 1, verse 21. Luke chapter 4, verse 15. And John chapter 6, verse 59. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, begins his ministry. Matthew chapter 4, verses 12 through 25. Emphasize verses 23 through 25. Mark chapter 1, verse 14 through 45. Emphasize verses 39 through 45. Luke chapter 4, verses 14 through 44. Emphasize verse 15, 43, and 44. John chapter 1, verses 35 through 51. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, chose 12 disciples. Matthew chapter 10, verses 1 through 42. Mark chapter 3, verses 13 through 35. Luke chapter 6, verses 13 through 49. John chapter 6, verses 59 through 71. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, established the one church, the only church. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19. And Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, gives his apostle commission. Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. Mark chapter 16, verses 14 through 20. Luke chapter 24, verses 44 through 49. And John chapter 21. The death, burial, and resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God. Matthew chapter 26, verses 1 through 75. Matthew chapter 27, verses 1 through 66. Emphasize verse 50. Joseph of Arimathea, a disciple of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, took his body down from the cross. And also verses 57 through 6. Matthew chapter 28, verses 1 through 20. Emphasize verses 16 through 20. Mark chapter 14, verses 1 through 72. Mark chapter 15, verses 1 through 47. Emphasize verse 37. Joseph of Arimathea, a disciple of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, took his body down from the cross. And also verses 43 through 47. Mark chapter 16, verses 1 through 20. Emphasize verses 14 through 20. Luke chapter 22, verses 1 through 71. Luke chapter 23, verses 1 through 56. Emphasize verses 46. Joseph of Arimathea, a disciple of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, took his body down from the cross. And also verses 50 through 56. Luke chapter 24, verses 1 through 53. Emphasize verses 44 through 53. John chapter 17, verses 1 through 26. John chapter 18, verses 1 through 40. And John chapter 19, verses 1 through 42. Emphasize verse 30. Joseph of Arimathea, a disciple of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, took his body down from the cross. Also verses 38 through 42. John chapter 20, verses 1 through 31. And John chapter 21, verses 1 through 25. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, gives us apostle commission. Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. Mark chapter 16, verses 14 through 20. Luke chapter 24, verses 44 through 49. And John chapter 21. what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this video. Then I'm gonna start another video, and then we're gonna get to our reading.